Hello everybody, happy Friday. It is Doug with 2 Plus Tough, and welcome to another While You're Reforging. Now, if you're new to this show, essentially at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, roughly, every week I go ahead and I flip on the camera. We just have more of a casual conversation about what's going on in the world of the games that we like. So, if you're new, first of all, welcome. The way this format kind of works, it's a lot more casual. It's kind of like stream of conscious, that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about hobby progress that I've gotten here on the painting table because people are always asking what I'm working on. Move into any kind of games played, and then talk about news. And then we kind of finish it off usually with the main topic, but today I'm just going to be painting some terrain while we chat. I don't really have a main topic this week. It's kind of been a crazy week for me, and so I didn't have time to like really plan or research anything, but I still just wanted to hang out with people nonetheless. So let's talk about hobby progress here. Let me go to the down cam. Oop, realize I scooted that up out of the way here. And I got a whole heckin' ton of progress actually. So I'm gonna pull up the chat so I can actually see you guys. Pop out the chat. Slave to Chaos, so lonely. Oh, right there with you, buddy. Let's see. So we'll move this here. Essentially, I got all of my Warcry Catacombs terrain done. There's also a few bits from the Azurite Ruins stuff. Jingles? I don't know what to call it. Like these sections of walls are from the Azurite Ruins, as are the treasure chests. Bridges, doorways, random sewer grates that people can come out of. I absolutely love this set of terrain. I wish, honestly, I truly wish that they had sold it separately without, in the Catacombs box, but without the first wave of terrain that came out. I understand that if you're new, that stuff is really great to have. It super is, but to me, the Catacombs thing just kind of takes the cake. I loved the doorways, and they're nice and mindless that, quite frankly, I can dry brush stone while I do other things, and that's really nice. So this is a ton of progress. At this point, I'm basically just... It is -3 degrees outside of my house right now. It is a blistery landscape of pain. And I am just painting literally anything that I primed before it got cold, which unfortunately is just a ton of terrain and this one hyper derpy Warhammer Quest priest because I have a brush on primer I can do for him. So I'm hanging in there. I'm trying not to lose my mind too much, but yeah, let's see. You love the bridges in that set? Oh, they're fantastic. Absolutely. And so I also have some great little scatter pieces from my good folks over at 3D Egos, who have had stuff on their channel before. And so I have these and I think 2 more buildings, but those are honestly, they're just stone straight up. There's nothing else to them. So later on in the episode, I'm just gonna be dry brushing some wood colors and putting on little doodads here. That's pretty much it for me for hobby progress. Again, it's so cold here that like no real painting is happening. I can't go out and prime anything. I don't really have a garage. It's just, yeah, so it is what it is. I really want to start cracking into some Skaven, if I'm honest with you. I guess as far as hobby progress goes, I do count purchases. If you were on the stream yesterday, you know that a gentleman named Willie over in Canada had access to a store that had a whole bunch of copies of Silver Tower. So I may have grabbed one of those. We'll see how it pans out in terms of Tzeentch Army or not. So anyway, that's basically all there is with me. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I had some books come in. Let me show you this. This bad boy. End Times Nagash. 2 parts. And the rest of the set is coming in sometime this week. And I'm very excited to jump into this. I forgot, you know... I don't know if it was like a very specific writer on their staff or what, but these books, they put all other publications that Games Workshop has made to shame. Just the sheer amount of detail to every single battle and the maps and everything. It's just, I don't know, it's freaking cool. As much as they were derided when they were launched, they're really cool books. So that's it for me. Friends, tell me, what have you been working on? So this is the part, basically, instead of saying hi to every single person as they come in, like some other shows do, which I find kind of annoying. Basically, between segments, I pause and we just hang out with the chat. So I see here, Jamie, you can use spray primer in the cold if you warm up the can and the mini. My problem is, how much time do I have with either of those in -3 temperatures? I don't know. Because what I don't want to do is get out there. I like batch painting, so you paint 10 guys, and by the time you go back indoors, get the next 10, because you wanted to keep them warm inside, and come back out. Well, your rattle can's temperature is decreasing every single time it goes out, even if you just bring it back in. I don't know. Anyway, so I'll try it this week. I'll try it on a clan rat. I've got like 40 of them. But thank you so much. I will try it. I promise. We got Camille. Hey. Biofoot, that guy you know. All those people, awesome. I just try to prime them fast. Yeah, that's basically all there is to it, yeah. I guess I really shouldn't worry too much. It's clan rats and rat ogres is all I have right now, so not the most detailed model anyway. Probably could use some of like the tough texture that bad priming gives you just to kind of make the models a bit more dynamic. Anyway, making plans to wrap up some Kit Bash Tree Revenants. Sweet. Tree Revenants are probably my favorite Kit Bash things. If you haven't seen it, Shu from Rerolling Ones, his Sylvaneth army, he has like a haunted, corrupted Nurgle Sylvaneth unit, and they're just amazing. He just does an incredible job. So, let's see. People say Doug is too positive and yet is surrounded by a negative climate. Yes, I get it. Yes. Let's see. Move into games played. Unfortunately, no miniature games were played. There was a snowstorm on Monday, which is normally my Star Wars Legion night. And tomorrow, I'm going to go continue my Warcry campaign. So we have my first convergence, me and my buddy Robbie. Very excited about that. And then the only other kind of game that was played was my Soulbound. I don't know why that name escapes me. I apologize. My Soulbound group. We did meet on Tuesday. Had a wonderful time. There was a good moment of like really cool role playing, where my guy, who is an Excelsior War Priest, this little guy, basically argued with a Sylvaneth guy that just because you have a grove here doesn't mean that you own the woods. And then they came back at me. I don't know. It was a really fun moment, actually. Quite a bit of fun. So that was super great. I had a wonderful time, and that is it for my games played. At some point, I think I was going to do like a series where I kind of recap what happened throughout my role-playing game nights, but I think in the end I'm just going to do one video that kind of recaps my thoughts, because, you know, we play in 2-hour sessions, which is perfect for me, but it means that individually, you know, these massive sweeping events are not happening, right? So it's a cool little chapter, and I think when the story is told, I can put it all together into a succinct story. So I'm going to do that instead of weekly installments that are only about 2 minutes long, because of course everything takes longer when you're playing with a group of people, right? Deciding where to go, what to carry, all that kind of stuff. It just takes time, and we're learning the system as we go. For example, like my Excelsior War Priest, when I first started the game, he didn't have a Gryph-hound with him, because you can take one, but you don't have to. And I was like, we'll pass on that. I'm gonna be the, you know, the charisma guy. He has all the stuff in persuasion and abilities to get, you know, draw information out of people and NPCs. And then ultimately what it came down to was, my guy is just not good in combat. Like, he has miracles and prayers that he can smite enemies with. He like obliterated a Skaven den warren with the light of God before, but you know, I don't want to rely on those things because they can be kind of dicey. So as far as like a basic melee profile, well, in Soulbound, if you get a pet essentially, or any kind of mount, so if you're like the Killian eel rider guy, you can use your eel's attack profile instead of yours, and so that would actually give me a much stronger presence in the game. And that's not me trying to be gamey, it's simply like, I can contribute far more. Right, because right now my stats are like bad across the board, like literally the lowest tier in how they're ranked across the board. So I think having something I can kind of throw in there as a gotcha with fighting would be really, really fun. That's about it for me. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Let's see here. I'm gonna close this segment off. Go ahead and type any questions, comments you got. Let's see. Is it Hyos, I believe? Oh wait, hold on. I skipped somebody. Just finished my Slanesh themed Slaves to Darkness army. Now all I need to do is paint the big man himself, Archeon. Here we go. That's awesome, buddy. Congrats. It feels good when you get some progress done. I'm building some Iron Jaws and Reikenor the Grimhaler. I love that model, Reikenor. He might be one I grab someday just for myself. But let's see. Hyos currently starting a Corn Force and just wondering, would it be lore and fluffy to have a pure Skull Crusher force with some Blood Warriors and Blood Reavers? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the greatest thing about those warbands is like they're so flexible lore-wise simply because it all comes down to what the champion values. So like if you create a champion, let's say a Chaos Lord on Juggernaut or something like that, and he's a baller and he just really, really likes riding into battle on Juggernaut, that's going to be reflected in the people that he collects to himself with his, power of persuasion and all this kinds of stuff. Whereas if you have somebody on foot, they can value whatever they want. You can be a heartless person and just like, I win by bodies, and you're just all Blood Reavers all the time. You can do whatever you want. Absolutely. Do that RPG series. I'm very curious of the Soulbound style of narrative. I will. I promise. I will at some point do a video about it. Once the specific story that we are currently in kind of wraps up a bit, I'll throw it out there for y'all. It is a lot of fun. I will say it is a lot of fun. I have not encountered a situation, granted, because of sickness and a buddy getting stuck in a ditch. I have not been to every single night, but I will say that just watching the very different kinds of characters we have, I have not seen a situation where somebody wanted to do something and there was no mechanical way to do that, right? We have different kinds of people in our group. One guy is very he likes to have the rules right, and so he will recite the rules to you. And then we have other people who are just like, why don't we just nuke them? And I love both of those. Those are two ends of the spectrum, and it's like, if there's something for everybody there, that's a win. I guess the only thing that I would think of when it comes to the game is I'm really looking forward to the expansions that are coming out very soon. Because one of the most important aspects of Soulbound is endeavors, and they're pretty, I'm not going to say limited in the core book. They're very narrow. They're very focused on so if you don't know, in between your adventures, whether you're taking a long rest or you're back in town resupplying, you can do what's called an endeavor, which is basically my guy's going to go off and try to accomplish X. It could be your carriage and overlord going off and retooling their equipment to kind of upgrade and that kind of stuff. It could be, for me, an endeavor is going to be trying to tame a Griffhound to become my personal pet. All those kinds of things, like you rearm, refocus, that kind of stuff, use your abilities. And there's just not a ton of those. I wish there were more. So that's kind of my wish. Champions of Order, yep, that's what it is. It's coming out soon. So, yeah. That guy, if the orcs can have an entire warband dedicated to rushing realm gates, Korn's boys can ride angry metal rhinos. Exactly. There's some balance issues I'd love to see them addressed when it comes to stats. Yes, I would agree with that. So if you don't know, Biofoot is my GM for that. And one of the things that I noticed in the earlier part of our series or our game was thematically, the Soulbound and the Stormcast are supposed to be gods of war. They're really good at fighting. Essentially, it's like you're playing Vermintide, where you're like, oh, okay, so these 4 schmucks got together and tore through an entire chaos army, whatever. it's that same kind of principle where it's like, yes, you represent average people who could be found in the realms, but you're like the best of them, right? Like, you're not normal. You're extraordinary. And so balancing the number of enemies to that can be a bit tricky because, quite frankly, we go through Skaven exactly like we do in Vermintide, and it's super savage. So shout out to Biofoot for adjusting, and there are ways, like, people have gotten hurt. Last session, I think a Stormcast guy took a Eshin assassin's like ninja star to the eye or something crazy like that. It was ridiculous. I love it. I love that kind of stuff. Let's see. Gonna get a bunch of endeavors in there. Sweet. That's wonderful. Very, very excited for that. I love it. Let's see. Among other such things. Can you make a skeleton character in Soulbound? Not yet. However, so the book coming out next is Champions of Order. Then there's going to be an equivalent for Destruction and Death. And someone correct me in the chat, is there going to be a Chaos one? But it's basically, it gives you new archetypes, new characters you can play. So I can't say firmly yes, but I can say that there are supplements coming that allow you to play undead characters, or death-themed characters, destruction, all that kind of stuff. So I like the idea that they're broadening the spectrum of who you can play as instead of just like order. So yeah. Let's see. Just hopped on. What are we talking about? We're just wrapping up a discussion on games played. I played some Soulbound this week. That was the only game I could get in because of the snow and cold. But yeah, let's see. There are also 3 new endeavors out in the Streets of Bright Spear supplement. They are very Bright Spear centric, but can easily be retooled for other locations. That's a solid point. I appreciate that. Thank you. Soon with Champions of Death, or just make a species trait. Yeah, you can create your own custom characters very easily, and there are just some minor things to kind of keep in mind as far as like, because like I said before, these guys are supposed to be super good at everything and or quite good at fighting, and so as long as you keep to some simple steps with character building, you're not gonna make anything too crazy, I don't think. Currently working on my undead army. Wanted to do it for a while. Oh, dude. Like, I got these Skaven because I want to do a very specific project, making an old army from an old white dwarf. But, like, across the page from that Skaven army is a vampire counts army. And I'm, like, looking at that, I'm like, I can make that with all the vampire stuff coming out. So, I'm hopeless. Okay, can't wait to play a Boingrot Bounder. Oh, that would be so cool. Let's see. Hello there, catching you on the way to campus. Well, hey, buddy. So yeah, we're gonna end this segment talking about Soulbound games played. Move into the news. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna answer the last few questions here. But let's move some stuff around here. Bum-ba-da-bum. What do we got? There we go. Now we're looking good. Okay, I'm just going to pause here for a hot second, answer the questions that came in right at the end of that last part. Thoughts on smaller, newer factions not getting newer kits, while older, full-fledged factions just get more. Hard to compare Idoneth Deepkin or Kerrigan to Slaves to Darkness. Here's my official thoughts. I mean, that's all I got is they're gonna sell what they're gonna sell and do what they're gonna do. Well, I don't know. I understand that like Deepkin players could go for some love. I understand, but I don't know. At this point, every faction has a battle tome. That's what I wanted more than anything, to be perfectly frank. And at this point, if it's just a matter of models, I've never been one of those people who is like, oh, a release without models, what a waste of time. Like there are some Daughters of Cain players being like, oh man, all we're getting is endless spells. The same thing happened with Beasts of Chaos, but it's like, you're getting an awesome book. I don't know. I've never cared. For me, model releases have never been tied to my ability to enjoy a release that comes out. So, Lazaro, what age is appropriate for getting into the hobby? Well, Well, it depends on what you mean by the hobby. I want to answer this one, actually. This is a really good question. So I guess what I mean by the hobby, defining that is, if you're talking about all of it in that terms of literature and story and model building, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a child development specialist. I don't know when kids are old enough to be safe with a hobby knife. I guess, I don't know. If I get asked to babysit, I'm just like, how old are you? Can you talk? And they're like, I'm 14, Douglas. I can do whatever I want. I'm like, okay. Simple yes would have sufficed. So I'm not probably not the person to ask about that. But in terms of that's the safety aspect of it. In terms of everything else, fairly young. I mean, again, the hobby is such a broad term because it could be something as simple as Crypt Hunter, which is the bookstore exclusive version of a dungeon crawler for Stormcast and Nighthaunt, which was very simple, very straightforward, and it had some expansions built into the rule set that if your child was doing well and wanted to learn more, they definitely could. But then it goes all the way up to, full Age of Sigmar. So it really just depends on how you're defining that. If you just want some exposure to models, get some snap fit kits and play an open play game. Just get them used to what it means to roll a 4-up and what rend means and all that kind of stuff. So painting models, you can paint a model as soon as you can hold a brush. Truthfully, it's gonna look derpy, but yeah. Do I need to earn your bottle? Can you drive? And my baby sings out. Exactly. Oh, man. Yeah, I'll let someone with kids probably chime in. You would probably have a much better clue as to what's appropriate age for children. All right. So in this segment here, I basically just comb through the Warhammer community stuff from the last week and pick out articles that sound interesting to me. And we're just going to walk through them. So take a closer look at Glutos or Solion. Disturbingly detailed centerpiece model. This gentleman is the namesake of today's episode. He is the War-Chungus, and I love him. I'm gonna say this: he's living his best life and my best life, and I'm just really here for it. Nobody wears pajama bottoms like he does. What does he got? He got 3 arms over here. I see 1 hand, 2 tentacles. Yeah, he's doing good. He done did good. And of course, if you haven't seen this model yet, it's absolutely incredible. It's so funny. I look at this. I love his ride. Doug, his name is Faticros. Oh, no way. I like War-Chungus more because these guys remind me of the War Altar carriers. But yeah, I love his little chariot thing. And then obviously, the only thing... Spider-Man meme. I'm somewhat of a War-Chungus myself. I love it. That's actually... Hey, man, Brett wins. My thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of models on models. So, even just, Carriage and Overlord, the crewman on the deck of the ship. We got this guy with, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4 dudes in addition to Big Thumpin' back here. I don't know. That's a lot. It's a lot going on. I want to see the model in person because this picture it doesn't do a great job of giving you a sense of space because I want to see how far away or how claustrophobic all of these guys are together. So, yeah. Really want to see the rules for that guy. So what I can tell you is that just like Catacross, he starts with a full complement of profiles, and then as he takes damage, the rules tell you which effects from which people are active. So it'll be Big Chungus, Night Guy, Peacock Lady, and then as you start taking damage, it'll have their names listed. So then you just know, okay, I'm just gonna reference Peacock Lady and Night Guy because Goblet sharing dwarf dude is out of action, kind of stuff like that. And so his profile radically changes, but each of these offers some means of an army buff. Yeah. Do you think he likes Hot Pockets? Oh, yeah. I mean, You don't look like this. Look, he's literally eating a Hot Pocket right now. Absolutely. He's a man of finer things. Oh my gosh. I'm never going to let that joke die. I love it. Hot Pockets are here to stay. And then we have actual sprue pictures, which is real nice. I love that nice, well-defined claw arm. Oh, okay, and there's like the base of the chariot, I would imagine. Yep. I like it. He's a cool dude. And so the prices got leaked, and it's like $115 for him. And I'm like, you know what? That's not bad. I mean, I was honestly expecting like $150 or something like that. Cool. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. I'm not going to get them, but you know what I mean. In terms of like prices being affordable. Okay, so here we go. We have, let's see, we have Lash Master Visk. We have Priestess Dolise. I like it. And the mysterious creature serving up Glutos' next delicacy. So what, halfling? Yeah, let's see. And Glutos himself reclines leisurely. Yeah, Lord Valdek, I know they got leaked. It's the leaking season, but as someone who, you know, values the NDAs that they signed with GW, I won't be doing that. All right, so yeah. If you look at the halfling dude, I mean, it's assuming that's what it is. I don't know what's going on here otherwise, but yeah. Let's see. Then we've got Cannibalistic Painbringer, Kyazu. I like him quite a bit, and is pulled onward by a pair of massive mutated brutes who are happy to make a meal of anyone foolish enough to get in their way. Their monstrous claws are more than capable of tenderizing and butchering all of the largest, toughest foes. I love him. So, that butler is amazing. Yes. He is pretty great. I'm just going to leave that there, and we'll use that as a pick when I'm transferring from one screen to the next. Next up, we have a Blood Bowl. Now, I am somebody who I've for the longest time I've had a passing interest in Blood Bowl. If you know, one of the viewers named Corey sent me a copy of the newest edition of Blood Bowl. The models are incredible. Like, they go together like a dream. Very excited to jump into it. There's actually a local league. There's actually 2 leagues locally. I just found out yesterday that what do they call it? What's the name of their show? Give me just a second. I'm going to look it up here on my end. If you are into Blood Bowl. Yes, it is called 3 Die Block. They are a local hobbyist, Blood Bowl maniacs, and all things like that. So they're starting up the leagues. They're just going to do them online here with Fumble, which is like an online version of the game that I'm not super interested in because the graphics are terrible. But nice to know that I will be able to get some games in once things kind of let up. So I'm very excited about Blood Bowl. No idea what's going on here. This is a Spike magazine that has some tutorials. I love it. There will be Blood Bowl content coming your way. Let's see. Next up, one of the things that I like about the new Slaanesh book is that even though in some aspects Slaanesh has returned, major spoiler, they are still maintaining the 3 different basically viewpoints on Slaanesh. That there's God Seekers, always looking to make their way into where they think Slaanesh is, the Invaders, which are the more aggressive ones, and the Pretenders, because somebody thinks that they're good enough to be the new Slaanesh. So I absolutely love that they kept those in. I will say that there is a myriad of new War Scrolls in here. I think, honestly, I don't know. I guess when I look at this release, right? Because I'll be honest, I was looking over the Battle Tome. it feels like an army now. I don't know how else to word it. Like, the last release gave us some incredible models. I absolutely loved it. The rules and stuff like that, obviously, by many people's accounts, needed a second look. However, I will say that, like, with the mortal element included, this honestly does feel to me like it belongs to sit. It belongs next to the other Chaos faction. It belongs next to Maggotkin and Disciples of Tzeentch and Blades of Khorne. Like, it feels like a well-rounded army, and I just really appreciate that. As far as its, abilities and tactical stuff, smarter minds than me can discuss that. I can tell you they reined it in a bit, which is real nice. Same flavor, just in different mechanical ways, and I think it'll be good. So that's my thing. Tune in tomorrow. I will have a deeper review of the book. This and Daughters of Cain. There we go. Speaking of whom, we're going to talk about these endless spells, because I like these guys. So we have the Serpent Spell. They couldn't call it something else? The Bloodrack Viper. Why do they call it Serpent Spell here? Is that just like a... I don't know. Anyway. Any new gobos? New goblins? Nope, not that I know of. Predatory Endless Spell. After it's moved, the player who made this Endless Spell must pick one unit within 1 inch of it and roll 3 dice. For each roll that is equal to or greater than the unit's wound characteristic, one model is slain. So, what? If you put this next to a unit of, let's just say Liberators, right? 2 wounds, you roll 3 dice. Every 3 up kills a dude. That's pretty good. I like it because it is a flat 3 dice. There might be ways to modify it that I haven't seen yet, but I like it because it's not going to be super nuts, right? Because it's not going to take out much in the way of heroes, because if you go into a one-man hero unit, you're generally looking for 5s or 6s on those dice. No, you'd be looking for a 6, because most heroes are 5 wounds. Each roll that is equal to or greater. Okay, so 5 or 6s, yeah. Interesting. Then we have... How about a hurricane of falcons borne aloft by a tempest of blood? Sold. After this model has moved, each unit that has any models that passed across suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, the cover modifiers to save rolls for attacks that target that unit. In addition, do not apply the cover modifier. Okay, so it removes cover. Okay, cool. I like it. We're just taking a look at the endless spells for Daughters of Cain here. Locus of the Murder God. Subtract 1 from the damage inflicted to a minimum of 1 by each successful attack that targets a Daughters of Cain unit wholly within 12 inches of this model. I can see this being incredibly valuable for Melusai focused lists where they have multiple wounds. Yeah, that's rad. I like it. This is a prayer one though, right? Ironheart of Cain has long been an important icon of Daughters of Cain. Now you can summon a manifestation of it. Oh, for some reason I thought it was a... Yeah, this prayer takes the form. So they have 2 endless spells, 1 prayer, and I like that. It's a good mix, because any faction that has both, I feel like there should be something to represent both. Like, I really do think that there should be a Skaven Pestilence endless prayer thing, but that's just my opinion. Let's see. Perfect name for the video segment. There will be Blood Bowl. Oh, I love it. That's a great idea. Do you think a Mega Boss, a Weird Knob Shaman, and 5 Brutes is enough to make a good Iron Jaws warband? For Warcry? Is that what you're asking, Jamie? I'm gonna pause on that. Here, I'll let you answer me on that one. I think Slaanesh has a mortal line now, since Slaanesh is that slow corruptor. Slaanesh teams are fine, but lore-wise, I want to see people influenced. Exactly. So, here we are at Warhammer Cursed City. We have our newest hero, and she has been rightly dubbed as a Kurnothi. If you don't know, the Kurnothi were first introduced for Warhammer Underworlds. They're the poster boy army of Beastgrave when that edition came out. where they had, was it Beasts of Chaos versus Kurnothi, I believe. Very cool stuff. Wonderful models. I want to see a whole range based on them, and at this point I just feel like I'm being toyed with. So I do desperately either want a whole new range, or kind of like how they just released like 5 or 6 kits for Mortal Stuff Slaanesh. Just do that same thing and lump them in with Sylvaneth, right? Give Sylvaneth new tools, new experiences, mix it up, break them away from terrain, Games Workshop. Mother of God, please stop with the dang trees. That's all my thoughts. Let's get back to the model at hand, though. Absolutely wonderful. I love the stylings of all the leather, like the etching and that kind of stuff. Oh, it's so cool. So she is coming to Warhammer Quest. Very excited. Let's see what her... I know there's a blurb there, but I want to read the one on their site. So, oh, okay. Let's try and pronounce this. Quolothus, the Exile. Quolothus has vowed to hunt the vampire that slaughtered her kin, despite being forbidden to do so by her clan's elders. Taking an arm thick splinter of the Oak of Ages past, she has created a quiver of magical arrows with which to gain her vengeance. I love it. And her quote is, "You are not my people. I have no kin. In place of cowardice, I choose exile and disgrace. Yet, if my aim is true, I may still earn revenge and perhaps even an iota of atonement." I love it. That's so dark and metal, and it's just awesome. Just awesome. So, very excited to hear about that character. That was really it. There's not a ton more details here that I saw. Yeah, they just pretty much reiterate that little story blurb. Yeah, okay. So I like her quite a bit. And here we're looking over some Slaanesh rules. If the unmodified wound roll for a 6, inflict 1 mortal wound on target in addition to any damage. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you guys read these here because I don't want to get bogged down in them, but absolutely cool stuff. And then what is this? Underhive Informant. Oh, it's just kind of a preview for some of the new designs coming out. Really cool stuff. My thought is these are most likely Khador things. We know that Khador has a book coming out soon. I still love Necromunda. I found that there are local people who play, which makes me so freaking excited. The idea of what looks like a shotgun flamer is quite possibly the most metal thing ever, and I love it. As right up there with the flamer chainsaw. God, it's so cool. It's just the coolest. Anyway, that's all there is for that. So I'm going to leave this here. That's it for news. I'm going to pause right there and get some paints out. And the rest of the show, probably the next half hour, 45 minutes, just going to be chatting with y'all, getting your thoughts on the new releases, and just having a good time. So, let's see. Jamie, the warband is for Warcry. Yes, I have seen an all-brute warband. They are, I'm going to warn you, painfully slow, and I would suggest you have a rule with your opponent or your team, your gaming group, that no matter what the actual height is, if you spend both your movements to climb something, there's always enough room for your model to stand on the edge. Because actually we had this situation come up in a game that I was playing, or a league that I was playing in up in Washington, where like there were kinds of terrains that even if the brute did a move action, there wouldn't be enough for him to actually, like, he could get to the height of the terrain, but he couldn't like move forward then to stand on it. And it's like, that's dumb because his base is so big. And so I would just house rule that if you do a move to climb something that's, you know, reasonable, you always have enough room to move forward onto it so your model's not falling off the edge or something like that. 3-inch movement is insanely lame in Warcry. I have to agree. Yes, I think if you're hard pressed for some more options and you want to keep the cost low, sniping and Underworld Warband for the Iron Jaws, like the actual Ard Boys, where you just get 4 dudes, it's a great way to mix things up. And you have some cool sculpts. That's what I would suggest for you. Let's see. Have I seen the Total War Warhammer 3 trailer? Nope, I don't keep up to news so much on that, but I'm sure I will enjoy it after this. Let's see. Not sure whether they would bring a new faction. Think they would meld in with Sylvaneth. Yeah, I would love for them to meld in with Sylvaneth and kind of, quite frankly, change the way that Sylvaneth play. It's the only thing that's ever kept me from having that army. I just refused with all the terrain. It's just so annoying. Hello, Doug. Long time no see, my friend. I remember you being excited to reach 5K. Oh, buddy. Yeah, I remember your name. That's a throwback. Quick question. What are your thoughts on Legion of Asgore getting discontinued? Are they officially discontinued? Really? Forge World. That would be news to me. Oh, wait. I clicked on the wrong one. So they would be a Chaos Army. Oh, yeah. Looks like they most certainly are. My thoughts on it, they never did anything with it and they let it languish. If they weren't going to do anything with it, they should have stopped selling it a long time ago so people didn't have time to pick them up. That's my official opinion. It's a bummer whenever factions get discontinued. I will not argue or begrudge someone for being upset about it or salty. Absolutely, it sucks no matter what. But honestly, I don't know what the hell they want with Forge World anymore. Like, I was under the impression that they were going to start, like, kind of having it fade away or kind of become a specialist game thing. And then they dropped Vargroth, the $870 kick in the nuts model on us. And you're just like, well, I don't know what to think now. And every week I hear, not every week, that's a drama statement. I apologize. Very frequently I hear that things are being taken away from the Horus Heresy and the 40K lines. My honest thoughts is they just need to figure out what they're doing and communicate that to their clients or customers, but that's about it. Let's see. Kevin asks, what do you think the next enemy preview will be? Ooh, I don't know. I hope it's a zombie. I want zombies so bad. Doug, I wonder which model range in AOS deserves to be updated ASAP. I'm going to say Skaven because there are metal models there that are old enough to vote. That's what I'm going to say. At this point, every army has, I'm going to switch down here to painting. Every army has a battle tome, which is phenomenal. It's exactly what I think, that was my number one priority. But at this point, we need to clear out some of those. I mean, honestly, like, it's bad enough that they have quite as many resin models as they do when they're the number one innovators of plastic sculpts and that kind of stuff. But there's no excuse for the metal Skaven models. Let's see, move some books around and get my painting stuff all set up here. Could have done it before the show, but I didn't. That's all I got for that. I just didn't. Let's see. So what do I need? That. Oop. Probably help me if I didn't drop all my paints everywhere. Okay, so we'll start with those. We're just doing some dry brushing, nothing too fancy. Basically, I'm gonna do the brown on all the crates and barrels, and then we'll come back around for other stuff here. Okay. I asked because I have been slowly collecting them, and after that I went in on a few patrons for alternative sculpts, since the army is no longer legal anyways. Going to check out Ninth Age instead. Yeah, buddy, I'm so sorry about that. Like, I don't, like I said, like, the only people I generally feel like who I don't know how to say this. The only salt that I never counter with positivity is Tomb King's Bretonnians, and of course now Legion of Asgore, where it's like, I understand that if you really loved those things and now they're gone, that just sucks. And I got nothing, but just know you are always welcome, my friend, to come hang out if you just want to listen to paint some models. Never begrudge people for being like, they don't do the thing that I like anymore. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Provided that, you know, as you leave, you don't like set fire to your army and tell everyone they're idiots for enjoying Games Workshop. Let's see. It's a very valid point. Sorry. Oh no, you're good, my friend. You don't need to apologize. I'm just over here, gubing and tubing. All right, let's see. Sorry for asking a question that is probably long since answered. Did you finally manage to go part-time at work and pursue this more? I am actually a full-time YouTuber now. Between my wonderful patrons over on Patreon who humble me every single month, and a few wonderful ad sponsors who kind of chip in and kind of, you know, let's have a real talk here, help out with stuff like health insurance and you know, savings and that kind of stuff. I am full time. So yeah, I'm very excited for the stuff that I got coming up. We got some end times discussion. We got, oh my gosh, I got 2 new battle tomes. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. All kinds of goodies. Let's see, Skaven for sure. Let's see, my Tomarkin Horde is the prime and joy of my collection. Yeah, I love the Tomarkin Horde model. Or himself, right? Tomarkin. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I feel like you can't mispronounce a fake name. That's always been my stance when people correct me in the chat. Just like, it's pronounced X. I'm like, you know what's so funny is that you left a text-based comment, and I'm still reading it in the way that I say it. So I'm not quite sure what you thought was going to happen there, buddy. Last I recall, you were trying to get in a single weekday to do it. So, yep, I remember. Yes, I did. So, for those of you who have any passing curiosity in my life and the channel and that kind of stuff, essentially at one point I was like, I want to make enough to have one day, Fridays, utterly and completely devoted to the channel. And that was like my crowning achievement for that year. But it turns out that as that was happening, I don't know, things just really took off and went in a magnificent way. And then COVID happened and we all started working from home anyway. And it honestly offered the perfect transition time. Because, so basically the way that I can afford to work full-time on YouTube between patron stuff and sponsorships is because we actually moved back to the Midwest. I'm in Iowa now, Eastern Iowa. And so, honestly, cost of living here is so much cheaper than Seattle, where I can actually have things like dreams and hopes. Because this is so freaking expensive in Seattle. Can't afford any of those, not in that economy. So, yeah. Let's see. My only pronunciation pet peeve with you is Grugny, because you just don't see that one N. Grugny? Am I saying that right? Grugny? I don't say gruggy. It's a human you don't read red when it's meant to be read as red. Oh, man. Question, when do you think they will drop Old World? Drop the new game, Old World. Grung? Oh, see, that's what it is. It's not the N. It's I don't put that second G. I don't know. I'm going to agree to disagree on that one. I think I say Grugny quite right. I did forget the second N on one video title at one point. Let's see. Okay, so when they drop Old World, do you think they'll release those old units to buy? Kind of hard to play. Well, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. I think Games Workshop is doing is setting themselves up for failure with the lack of information that they have given about the Old World, because technically we don't even know if it's the same scale. We don't know what armies are going to be there. Yeah, if they're going to remake any models, like there's zero communication. And so, you know, I think as a consumer who wants to save money, everything that you just asked is perfectly valid. And other companies would be so fortunate to have customers who were so anxious to spend money on products, but Games Workshop is keeping everything with the Old World tight-lipped, so it's just like, meh. I don't know. I'm not, again, I have no salt when it comes to my hobby, but business practices, on the other hand, there are some things I don't like. Let's see. Old World Steel years off. Yeah, that's my understanding as well. They have given pretty much what they have, since they don't know themselves. It's in the planning stage. Still nowhere ready for release talk. It's true. I mean, it's true. But then why? I don't know. Part of me is just like, then why say anything and get people excited if you have no plan? You know what I mean? Because then you have customers asking very legitimate questions, getting excited for a product, and knowing that when I started this channel, the kinds of, I'm going to say, comments and folks that I interacted with who were viscerally mad at Age of Sigmar's launch, knowing that kind of personality type, it's like, why wouldn't you just say something when you had something to say? I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. And that's the thing, is I am also open to it. Like, at first I was like, whatever, I don't care. But, you know, through playing Total War and Vermintide and Mordheim, all these awesome video games that are set in the Old World, like, I have retroactively fallen in love with the Old World, even though it's a boat that I totally missed. But, you know, again, I want to know when products come out. I want to get excited for something other than a logo. But, yeah, I don't know. I think that puts an enormous amount of pressure on the game developers, and sets themselves up for people to just be disappointed because it's not what they've spent years building up in their heads, because no information was given. Let's see. I was mad at AOS. I was furious that Grimgore lost to Archaon. Super fair. I think Old World will be smaller scale to ensure no transfer of models. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, is I'm not positive of much. I'm positive it will cost money, and that you're not going to be able to just port every army together. And I say that because they need to make money. Let's see. Let me just grab some. I'm grabbing some colors here to throw some base stuff down on ropes and that kind of stuff. Let's see. No dried bark. Let's do this. Let's do. XV88. Actually, I kind of like that one. Army Painter. Alright, I'm just grabbing some random stuff for cloth and... yeah, okay. This will go quick. Who do you think is going to be the next Broken Realms book? Alariel? I hope so. How about that? I'll give you that one. I really hope it is. I want to see them do to Sylvaneth what we saw with Deepkin, where it's just like change a few war scrolls, you add a few things, add some flavor, make them do something in the lore that is significant, and boom. All of a sudden, they are an interesting faction again. Because, I mean, when's the last time... I guess technically Alariel made a cameo appearance in Broken Realms Marathi by reluctantly opening the Genesis gate, but I mean... That's not a lot of screen time, if you get my drift. Okay, this, because I primed it black, is going to take a couple coats. But that's alright. It's a little bit porous, and it's kind of just eating it right up. Alright. I want an Inquisition faction? Absolutely. Absolutely. Order of Azir. Or at least some kind of like sub-faction type thing within cities. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe you've already discussed it, but what exactly are Kurnothi, the half-elf deer guys? We don't have a ton of information, to be honest with you. I was really hoping to do a lore video at one point, and I just felt like there was just not enough information given. In the, paragraph that they give the warbands from Underworlds, I just felt like there wasn't a ton there. But yeah, I mean, obviously they're closely tied to forest spirits and that kind of stuff, so... Broken Realm Sigvald. That would be rad. Except, I don't... then the discussion on my comments feed would just intensify of like... They only care about new models, they don't care about the old ones. Why are we getting a Sigvald book when we should be getting a Lariel? You know, that kind of stuff. Here's how to enjoy your Games Workshop hobby. You ready? Have no scruples. Take those scruples, get them out of there. If it comes and you don't like it, just don't buy it. Actually, I'm gonna break up this. I don't want three identical looking. Bags out here together. Let's see. Nice. Grab one of these. Jacob Buxley! What's up, buddy? It has been a while. How you been? Let's see. That, and we'll take this little bag up here. Alright, and we're going to wash all these things with different color washes just to kind of break them up even just a little bit further. How are we all? We're doing quite well, my friend. Over here doing the triple L hustle. Live, laugh, and love. That's all we're doing. Let's see. Sigvald, one of my favorites forever. I'm getting the dude as soon as he drops. Don't even own a Slaanesh army anymore. Nice. Let's see. I don't think there's a whole lot coming out else news-wise. It really centers around Slaanesh and Daughters of Cain right now. Although they did switch to their like releases come every 2 weeks type thing, which I'm actually okay with, to be super honest with you. I'm glad they communicated that well. I'm actually kind of curious. Does anyone know what's up for 40K next? Like, I mean, I have no interest in buying it, whatever it is, but it's weird because like my understanding of what's on the horizon kind of ends. I guess with the exception of Cursed City, but I can't tell how many weeks we have of previews with that left. But I am curious. It's a mighty fine scatter terrain you got there. What is it? What's it for? This is from 3D Egos. They're a 3D printed and touring company over on Etsy, and they're awesome guys. Highly recommend. But honestly, it's just scatter terrain to add some more flavor to my Warcry tables. That's all. I like when cities look lived in. And I never quite was on board with the idea of, in Warcry, the card determining what your table looks like. I think part of the joy of many hobbyists is building a table. Or, you know, designing a narrative scene, right? And so I'm not quite sure why they went with that direction, but it is what it is. And so I just build my own tables. Or I'm going to start to anyway. With the exception of convergence missions, because, you know, they're trying to do something specific in those, but for a normal game, it's like, man, just gonna make my own. So yeah, guys looking pretty good. Guys good. Sweet. Now we're gonna take a smidge of this. I'm just gonna kind of pepper in the pages on these books here. They don't need to look incredible, but and we'll get the rope as well. All right. Just trying to make sure I don't miss any of these little doodads. They're always the easiest things to miss, right? Where it's like a single bag or a gem or something like that on a model where you're like, that just doesn't look quite right. He's good. He's good. Sweet. You're making your hobby your own? Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. That's like, well, I mean, it happened here on the chat. Someone asked about a corn army, and it's just like, you know, is this like, is this idea that I have lore friendly? And it's like, man, they annihilated an entire intellectual property called the Old World to make sure that you could do whatever the heck you want by making the realms so vast and eternal that like literally anything can happen. It's like, yes, whatever it is, yes. I mean, there's even people like, oh, what about like you know, Chaos Stormcast? I'm like, I don't care, go for it. Create a cool story, make some sick conversions. I'd play against that any day of the week. The second you buy a box of models, you buy a one-way ticket to being whatever god you want to be in this universe. You can create anything out of them. You can kit bash them. You can give them to your friends. You can sell them in a month like I do. You can do whatever you want. Brent, Doug, do you ever play? Damn it, Doug can form. That's awesome. Let's see. Do I ever play Tabletop Simulator? I have not, but I am interested in learning how to do it for Warcry. The reason I say that is I'm not super interested in doing it for AOS because, quite frankly, the games are so large. Like it's still an immense amount of time to be playing games. So I'm much more eager to do it for something like either Blood Bowl or I did see that there was a Warcry download thing, and I would absolutely love to play that. But as far as full AOS goes, man, I don't know, because it's like I feel like I've logged in and I have played one game, and at the end of it I was like, it wasn't an experience that I was looking for, because I don't feel like we were telling a story. I feel like we were playing a game. And to be frank with you, I do think there are better games. If you just want to play a game, I think that there are better ones than AOS in terms of just raw mechanics. When it comes to using models and art and cool missions to tell a story, then I think AOS shines and is number one. Of course, that's a personal opinion. Everyone's interest in games and or the hobby is different, and it does not invalidate yours. Just means I'm probably not going to participate in a bunch of TTS tournaments. Besides, I wouldn't want to ruin the unofficial stats of every other YouTuber who's been using those to talk about the meta. Well, generally, Slaves to Darkness are doing quite well, except for this one dumpy dumb turd named Doug Griggs, who seems to lose every game. I am the man who breaks Math Hammer. Oh, man. Let's see. I'd play in Warcry? Sweet. Yeah, I would do that. Absolutely. Like I said, I found the module, I think last week or something. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't blocked out time, but it's something that I'd absolutely do. And if, because that's the thing, is like those games go so quick. They just do, and when we can, because there's only like a handful of models, if anybody wanted to play Warcry with me, we can absolutely make that happen, and then we can go, full Matt Mercer, and when something happens in the game, we'll turn it into a story, retell it to people as if something epic happened on the table. Whereas I feel like full units and armies and that kind of stuff, it gets a bit cumbersome to do that kind of thing. It's okay, Doug. DW doesn't have access to those stats anyway. Ah, man, I have so many comebacks to that joke, but I'm going to choose not to. Let's see, got a little detail right there. Barrel rims are the worst. Let's see. I don't know. I think that's a really good... It's an interesting debate of like how the validity of... let me think how to word this. How valid Tabletop Simulator results are when applied to in-person games. Like, within its own meta, yes, TTS can have stats and stuff like that. But the problem is the second that those things have to become real-life purchases, there are hobbyists who get bored with stuff and army swap and don't want to actually physically move 200 clan rats or something stupid or silly like that. And so it actually acts as a natural valve to what is actually reasonable and things that you would actually see, therefore what you would want to balance your game around. Now, of course, in TTS, there's ways to make things very quick and simple by snapping keys together and that kind of stuff, like absolutely. but I do consider them to be very different. And am okay with not using that data to balance a game. But there's more than that going on when it comes to the TTS discussion, I understand. I'm very envious that speedy yet neat lead belcher. Yeah, I mean, I guess brush control is I guess. I don't really know how to practice it other than just doing it. Oh man. At this point, it's basically just drawing in lines. And then when I throw the wash on, basically, I use washes to cover up my mistakes in life. Just in general, you know. Alright, grab that there. What do you say about Broken Realms Skagrot the Loon King? The Loon King. I'll be honest with you, like, yeah, exactly. I can make any TTS list I want in 30 minutes. In real life, I want a 30 Beasts of Chaos Chariots. My God, that sounds soul breaking. After I painted one of the Slaves to Darkness chariots, I was just like, this sucks. It's a phenomenal model, but putting that sucker together was a pain. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I despise sub-assemblies. I feel like I haven't gotten to the next step if it's not fully put together. And that's even to my own detriment. Because then people are like, well, you can't reach everything. It's like, yeah, well, if I can't reach it, then I shouldn't see it. Then I don't care. I remember listening to a fantastic, even if you have no interest in 40K, one of my favorite podcasts has always been The Independent Characters, where they're a much more narrative look at the game, and it's just, it's very mature individuals that have discussions about the hobby and that kind of stuff. I absolutely love it. They're like me in terms of like positivity, but also realism. They express disappointment in some stuff, that kind of stuff. And so I really do recommend it. But they were saying one time of just like people get so fixated on things that their models don't have, right? I missed this detail, blah, blah, blah. And they had a painter come on as a guest one time and say, just get your models done to the base minimum standard that you would put it on the table and call it fully painted. And then stop there and work on something else. The idea being is that you can always go back and add details later on. But you probably won't. And that was their point of like, you think when you get fixated on something, you think that this is the most important thing. But the second you willingly put it off to the side and you get some perspective, you're like, actually, I'm not going to waste any time on that. Who the hell cares? See, it's 1 out of 60 orcs, that kind of thing. Where we have a propensity to get very locked in on a certain project, and it doesn't necessarily help us. And I was like, man, I like that. That's a good attitude. But I don't think adults get nearly enough credit when they can draw a straight line. Oh man. But yeah, I really do recommend. They actually took a little bit of a hiatus because someone drove a car through one of the hosts' a section of his house where they do all their recording, and it's all taken care of with insurance. But he's just like, I just need a little bit of a break. And everyone was like, yeah, that's fair. It's difficult to go back to my Sylvaneth after covering all the branches with flock. Wait, are you saying you don't like the flock anymore? Or are you saying that like now it's hard to do because you don't want to keep replicating the same scheme? I think if I ever did Sylvaneth, it would require them to move away from the trees, as I've mentioned before. But I think the thing that would really tip the scales for me, I really do want to paint that cherry blossom scheme. I just love the way it looks. And if that makes me, for lack of a better term, a basic bitch, hand me my pumpkin spice latte. That's what I'm gonna do. I love it. I think it's beautiful. Let's see. I'm just started Savage Orcs, and man, the first 10 I was trying to way too hard for a relaxation project. Yep. Honestly, when I was doing both times I did my Savage Orc army, you know, the nice thing about them is they're mostly skin. So if you can get that process down, it goes very quickly. But it's still a process. It's fine, Doug. We love your basics. Yeah. Thank you. My wife laughs at me every winter when I get a pumpkin spice latte. She is a fancy barista type who enjoys the finer coffees, and I'm just like, what's that? Sugar? Yeah, dump it in there. I don't know how we like eat and drink together because we have such different tastes and everything. My favorite sandwich in the world? A Reuben sandwich. There is literally not a single thing about a Reuben sandwich that my wife can stand. Like, she hates rye bread, sauerkraut, everything. Let's see. Brent, Doug, how are you settled in after the move? Feel back to normal? Yeah, it does. It does. Honestly, life is going really well. I'm very thankful for just everything in my life right now, to be honest with you. It's been incredibly humbling of a year. You know, there's still, you know, there's always something in life going on, but I'm working through those as best I can. Just one of those things. I mentioned it yesterday a bit, that I turned the camera on just to have a stream because I was having a rough day. And I was like, you know what? I need to hang out with some friends. This is one of those things. Oh, you get older and you see your parents in a different light, and it's just a hard time. As I'm sure everyone who's like above 35 can probably relate to what I just said and kind of let out a small moan. But yeah, no, life's been good. And now we do my favorite step, was you just basically dunk it in a wash. You take all those nice straight lines you painted and you just smother them. Let's see. Just joined. Sounds very philosophical. Hope you're all right. I am doing quite well. Everybody, I'm doing quite well. I promise. It's one of those things. I don't know about the rest of you, but I turned out radically different from the rest of my family. I come from a home of physical alcohol and verbal abuse, and it's just one of those things you look back in your childhood and you're like, man, that was really messed up. There was some really messed up stuff going on. Now that I am older and have the perspective of, like, you know, I am my mother's age when some of those memories were going on, where you're just like, dadgum. I say dadgum because I try to keep it fairly friendly, but I promise there was a more colorful language coming at me this week as I was kind of recounting some strange events that happened in my childhood that now I look back on and I'm like, that was not good. Probably should have been taken by CPS. But, you know, it turned out pretty normal, and that's kind of where I landed after I bounced back yesterday. Like, once I kind of got myself together, I was like, you know what? I did okay. So, I'm doing good. Wash dunk is the best. Yes, so satisfying. Absolutely. So, yeah. But, you know, I honestly, thank you all so much for the kind words. I promise I'm not fishing for pity at all. I'm just sharing. That's kind of why I went quiet for a few days. I just needed to kind of think a little bit, think about life, and honestly, I am so freaking proud of my wife and I love it. You know, it was one of those things, like, it wasn't like a depressive episode. It was just a hard time to think. A good hard think about your life, and it's just like, man, knowing what we've been through, like, we're just friggin' crushing it. And I'm so excited. Found the love of my life. She's wonderful. And we're making it. Ultimately, it's a good thing. It was kind of one of those, you know, sometimes you got to pull the Band-Aid off to heal. It was one of those kinds of weeks. The Band-Aid came off. Two plus hugs. I love it. Thank you all so much. Do appreciate it. We'll get back to some nerdy hobby stuff. We'll get off the emotional roller coaster here. But no, yeah, it's been a good week. I'm excited to go out and play some Warcry tomorrow. I'm very excited for that. I have my Corvus Cabal, although I'll be honest, I kind of wish I was able to prime stuff up so I could start playing my Skaven. But I'll give that a whirl this weekend. I'm here for the 2+ hugs. I don't brag about myself very often, but I will say I do give stellar hugs. I'm a big guy. I'm tall. I got long arms. I'm just the right kind of overweight. You hug me, you feel loved. Damn it. The only thing that gets awkward with hugs is that, like, I am 6'3". So if someone is particularly petite, I have a good friend named Laurel who's quite short, and it is a little awkward. I feel like I'm like hugging a child, or I'm just like, it feels weird. Let's see. How's it going? It's going well. We're just painting up some terrain, throwing a wash on. Pouring hearts out on the live stream. And after this, once this is all set to sit and wash, and dry, with the wash, I'm going to hop off and I'm going to start making some content that you guys will enjoy tomorrow morning. Because it's Saturday Fun Day, and we got some battle tomes that came out, so I'm excited. Or I guess they go up on pre-order. So I don't know what I'm going to be talking about, but I'm sure you'll like it. Office tour? You want an office tour of this place? Here you go. It's real quick. Okay, forgive the incredibly messy haircut. All right, to that side, we see the window and the computers. And then we're going to slowly pan. Fun fact, this shelf behind me was actually custom made by a carpenter in the 1930s. And it was bequeathed to my mother-in-law, who didn't know what to do with it. And so I was like, that shelf is dope. I will absolutely take it for a background piece. And so this very custom made by a Norwegian man, carpenter, is now the house of all my Warcry stuff on that shelf. A lot of AOS minis on the one below it. And let's see. Oh, one thing that is incredibly depressing about it, it is 1/4 of an inch too short for Games Workshop books to stand up. It is, it breaks my heart because I want to have like a cool little library of all the books that I got. That like, it just drives me nuts. You can actually see them down there. They're just laying sideways. I was like, no. So anyway, my husband is 10 centimeters shorter than me. I feel awkward. Yes, I get that. My wife, Jess, is quite tall as well, and so she has a similar. Let's see. Must have been made by Privateer Press. Okay, we'll continue the tour here, and we're going to pan this way. Let me look and see what you're looking at. In this closet, there's a whole bunch of terrain. Yeah, the left side has a plastic like shelving unit. It's just full of the terrain we've painted on stream, like the big tall buildings we did during the charity drive, that kind of stuff. Over on the right side is all of basically stuff that I haven't touched in many moons, because it's all my cases for going to tournaments and events and that kind of stuff. So it's all just kind of sitting there empty. And let's see if we can do this. Over against this wall is another bookshelf, and that has, it's basically like a whatever I'm working on now kind of a thing. So it's books that I'm currently referencing for lore. It's like just behind the shirt up there. There's the last two buildings I have for the terrain that I have yet to paint. And that's pretty much it. And everything else you see with the downward cam whenever I go down. So yeah, that is basically it. Hope they enjoyed my tour. Let's see. Might be the reason we ended up together. Let's see. What character in Vermintide 2 do you play? I have recently discovered that I love playing as, is his name Marcus? Like basically the free guild soldier guy. I like playing him in his third iteration, where he's like the full knight in armor. Not the Bretonnian looking dude, but the knight, because he's so defensive, and that's exactly how I play. I'd rather run forward and be the tank for people and be really good at like pushing people back and ramming stuff and that kind of stuff than shooting or hacking and slashing. So that is actually, I've had my best games yet with that character. Let's see. Have you received your Daughters of Cain and Slaanesh copies? I didn't not get that. Yes, I did. I can tell you that I got them. I just can't share anything until tomorrow. But yes. Kruber, that's his name. Kruber, thank you. I have a strategy with the Fire Mage that allows me to never die. Here's my thing. I finally learned how to put cosmetics on like your armor so you can change and customize how your dude looks. Without a doubt, the Fire Mage has the most BA look imaginable. Like if they made a multi-kit that was just that singular type, like it was just a bright wizard kit, and it had like all the different options that are available in Vermintide 2, I would buy 1,000 of them, because you would never have the same model twice, and it'd be so cool. Let's see. Do you think the Grimhailer would be a good leader for a Grand Alliance Death Army? Yes. He's pretty self-sufficient. He does a bunch of cool stuff, and he doesn't need much from anybody else, which is always good. So yeah, let's see. All right, well, with everything drying and just chilling here, I think I'm gonna go ahead and hop off and get started on maybe some videos for tomorrow morn. So friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me. What use is there for cosmetics if it's in first person? Because cosmetics, if there's any bots playing, like if you jump into a game and other players haven't yet filed in, you get to look at your custom created characters, which is really fun. And then, I don't know, should look like a badass. It's the same thing as any of those first person shooter games where there's like cosmetics. It's like, it's just so cool. Oh man. Anyway, friends, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today, and we will have a chat tomorrow.